Hey everyone, it's me Bailey and welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm going to be talking about the 24 books I want to read in 2024. Honestly, I feel like I haven't made one of these videos or even like one of these lists in a couple of years. I have a hard time sticking to them for the most part, but I'm hoping that this year I can read most of the books on this list, because a lot of these books that are on this list are ones that I've been wanting to read for a while, or ones that have recently come out that I've been wanting to read. So fingers crossed that I can get to these in 2024. The first book on this list is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maher, and this is I feel like this is a new adult fantasy romance novel about an assistant to a villain, and they fall in love, and the villain is like touch her and I'll kill you type vibes, and like who did this to you vibes. So I'm really interested in picking this one up, and hopefully I get to this in 2024. The next book is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This is the second book in the Empyrean series, and I read Fourth Wing in November of 2023 and have been wanting to continue on with the series, and I was interested to know what happened after the way that Fourth Wing ended, so I put this book on this list and hopefully I can get to it in 2024. The next book is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher, and this book is Lauren Asher's newest release, and this takes place in the same town that the final offer took place in, following some other characters in that same town. And I really enjoy Lauren Asher's writing, so I am super excited to hopefully get to this. I am so excited for this series, and fingers crossed I can get to it in 2024. Next we have The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This book really intrigued me by the premise, because it's basically about this girl who writes this bad review about this book that she read, and she starts being stalked by what I'm assuming is the author because of this bad review that she left on this book. And I just feel like that premise is so intriguing, and I'm definitely interested in finding out more about what happens in the story. Plus, this year I am still trying to branch out into different genres, and I feel like a mystery thriller is the perfect start. So super excited to hopefully get to this in 2024. Next we have Funny Story by Emily Henry, and this book is not out yet, but I did recently read Happy Place last year and really loved it. So I'm super interested to see if I'm going to like Funny Story. This book, I know a little bit about the premise, but not a whole lot. So basically I think this is about this woman who has been broken up with, and her ex leaves her for some other girl, and the girl breaks up with her boyfriend and leaves her for the ex. And so our main girl character and the ex of the girl that her boyfriend left her for end up becoming roommates and like fake dating or like falling in love or something like that. So I felt like that was a really interesting premise, so I'm definitely interested to see how I feel about that book. So I'm hoping to get to that one in 2024 as well. The next book is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and I know little to nothing about this book. I know that a lot of people have been really enjoying this, and I know that there is like this mist and like this sickness or something, and I think there's like a bridge, maybe. I don't know, but I've heard a lot of good things about this book, so I'm hoping to get to it in 2024 as well. The next book that I'm hoping to read in 2024 is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, and it's a new fantasy book by Shannon Chakraborty. And I have not read anything from this author before, but I have heard really good things about this book and this author's previous work. So I felt like this book really intrigued me. I really thought the premise was interesting about like being on a ship and like pirates and things like that. I'm not 100% sure what this is about, but I really like the cover and I'm really intrigued by it. So I am hoping to read this book in 2024 as well. The next book that I'm hoping to get to in 2024 is Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll, and this is a mystery thriller book about a serial killer who has been killing sorority girls, and I think this is actually like based on a true story, but then it's been like fictionalized. But I thought that the premise sounded really interesting, so I wanted to read it. And like I said, I'm trying to branch out into some more genres, and mystery thriller I feel like is a good stepping stone. I am also trying to branch out a little bit into literary fiction and kind of like horror as well, so we'll see how that ends up going. But I feel like Bright Young Woman is a book that I would enjoy. I'm really, like I said, intrigued by the premise, so hopefully I can get to it in 2024 as well. The next book that I want to read is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and the second book to this actually just came out, which is really good. So that means if I love the first one, then I have immediate access to the second one. So I am super interested in reading this book. I've heard a lot about it lately. I have been hearing amazing things about this book, and it has really jumped to the top of my radar. I feel like this book is probably everything that I would like in a book. I've heard that it is more like romance with like a sprinkle of fantasy, which I personally enjoy, as well as the way that I like fantasy with a sprinkle of romance. So I just feel like this book is right up my alley. It's about these two people that work at a newspaper, I believe. It's like historical fiction type, and they work at this newspaper, and they actually start writing these letters to each other, but they're rivals, and the guy knows that it's her, but she doesn't know that it's him. And so definitely an interesting premise, and one that I am hoping to get to in 2024. The next book that I'm hoping to get to is King of Wrath by Anna Huang, and this is the first book in the Kings of Sin series. I read the first two books in the Twisted series by Anna Huang and really liked them, so I am hoping that I'm going to like this series from her as well. I have not finished the Twisted series yet, but I'm hopefully gonna get to that this year, and this year as well. But I really enjoy Anna Huang's writing, so I'm super excited to get to this, and I just feel like this premise is just really intriguing to me. So that's why this book is on this list, and hopefully I can get to it in 2024. The next book is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J Maas, and this book comes out in like 2 weeks at the time that I'm filming this video. So I know for a fact that I will be reading this book this year, but I wanted to go ahead and throw this on this list because it is one that I want to read so bad. This is the third book in the Crescent City series, and I am so excited for this book. Like, I just cannot believe that it has been over a year, nearly 2 years, since House of Sky and Breath was released, and we got that cliffhanger. So I'm super excited to continue on with the series and see what Bryce gets up to in this next book. The next book on this list is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco, and I have heard really good things about this series. I read the Hunting Prince Dracula series by Carrie Maniscalco and didn't love it. I read the first 2 books in that series and didn't really like it all that much, but I've heard that this series is a lot better, and I feel like this is more of something that I would be more interested in than that series in particular. But I'm super excited to read this book because I really want to read Throne of the Fallen, and I wanted to read this series before reading that book because I know that book is like a companion to this series. So I wanted to read the series first before I read that book, and that's why this book is on this list. Plus, I just feel like I might like this one, and this is me giving Carrie Maniscalco like a second chance, and hopefully I really enjoy this book. The next book that I want to read is Wildfire by Hannah Grace, and this is the second book in the Maple Hills series. This is the follow-up to Icebreaker. It's a companion series, and I really loved Icebreaker. It was my first 5-star read of 2023, and I really enjoyed Hannah Grace's writing. Plus, I just really loved the story in Icebreaker, so I wanted to continue on with the series, and hopefully I can get to this book in 2024. Next, we have Jade City by Fonda Lee, and this is the first book in the Green Bones Saga series, and I have heard phenomenal things about this book, about this series, and I have been wanting to read it for a while now, and I feel like 2024 is the year that I'm back in my fantasy era, so I'm hoping that I can get to this in 2024 and that I'm going to really love it. Next, we have The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer, and this is the second book in the Vancouver Storm series. I read Beyond the Net in 2024, and absolutely loved it, so I wanted to read the second book in this series, and hopefully I can get to it in 2024. I'm not sure who this follows, but I know that it's companion series, but I really enjoyed Stephanie Archer's writing and I really loved the story in Behind the Net, so I'm super excited to hopefully get to this one in 2024 as well. Next we have Hunt on Dark Waters by Katie Robert, and I believe that this is a dark romance that is about a pirate, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I saw the cover and really liked it, and I've been wanting to read more by Katie Roberts, so I ended up putting this book on this list, but I'm super excited to hopefully get to this in 2024. Next we have Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, and I have been wanting to read this book for literally ever, but it has been so intimidating to me, but hopefully 2024 is the year that I read this book. Like I said, I feel like I'm going to be back in my fantasy era, and I want to read this book, so I put it on this list for me to hopefully get to in 2024. That is the goal, so fingers crossed that I read this book in 2024. Next we also have Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent as well, and I've heard amazing things about this book, and so I've been wanting to read this one as well. I don't really know what the premise of this one is about, but I'm really intrigued, and so hopefully fingers crossed I can get to this one in 2024 as well. The next book on this list is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and this is the first book in the Alex Stern series. I have had this book on my shelves for a while, and I have been seeing this a lot more recently, and it's been making me want to pick it up again, so hopefully I can pick this up in 2024. Plus I really like this cover. I think it's just so cool, but fingers crossed that I can pick this up in 2024. I'm not exactly sure what this is about. I know that it's about like a secret society at Yale, but I've heard very interesting things about this book, so I'm definitely interested to see if I'm going to end up liking it or not. Next we have Carval by Stephanie Garber, and the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber has gotten a lot of traction in 2023, and so I wanted to read that series, but I wanted to read this series first because I know that this series is like a prequel to that series, and so I wanted to start here. I've had this book on my radar for a minute, and I'm super excited to hopefully get to it in 2024. Next we have Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas, and again this is part of me wanting to branch out some of my reading taste in 2024, but I want to say that I've heard this book described as like a romance with horror elements instead of like a horror, but I feel like this book is definitely not something that is generally something that would call to me, but I felt like the premise sounded really interesting because it's about like this forbidden relationship and like there's vampires involved, and it just sounded like a good time, so I'm interested to read this and hopefully I can get to it in 2024. The next book that I'm hoping to get to in 2024 is God of Malice by Raina Kent, and this is a dark romance series that I've been seeing all over the internet recently and has been one that I've been wanting to pick up. I was in a very big dark romance era in my life, and I still really enjoy dark romance every once in a while, but I've been hearing such good things about this series that I wanted to pick this book up, and that is why I put this on this list. I don't know exactly what this is about. I don't know if this is like mafia or anything like that, but I am super excited to hopefully get to this book in 2024. The next book that I want to read in 2024 is The Comeback Summer by Allie Brady, and I read The Beach Trap by this author and really loved it, and I feel like it doesn't get enough attention, and so I wanted to pick up their other book that they released this past summer. I wanted to read it this past summer but didn't get a chance to get around to it, so hopefully I can read it this upcoming summer. But I really loved The Beach Trap, and if this is anything like that book, I know that I'm going to absolutely love it. I loved their writing style and I just feel like it was so good, so I'm definitely interested in reading more books from this author, and I definitely hope that The Beach Trap gets a lot more attention than it has in the past, but fingers crossed I can get to this one in 2024. The last book on this list is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is Allie Hazelwood's newest young adult romance, and her first young adult romance actually, but I have been hearing pretty good things about this book, and I really enjoy Allie Hazelwood's books. She is like an auto-buy author for me, so I pick up every single book of hers that she has written, and so far I've enjoyed myself in every book that I've read from her, so I'm definitely interested to see her take on a YA romance, and I'm interested to see if I like this book. I did have a chess era myself in like late 2022, early 2023. I was learning how to play chess, so I'm definitely interested to see if any of my knowledge can apply while reading this book. But I'm super excited to hopefully get to this book in 2024 as well. All right, so those are all 24 books that I'm hoping to get to in 2024. I had kind of a hard time putting together this list because I wanted to pick things that I thought I would end up getting to in 2024, but there are so many things that I have been wanting to read lately that I wanted to put on this list but just did not quite make the cut. But I'm super excited about all 24 of these books, and hopefully I can get to them in this new year. If you have read any of these books, I would love to know your thoughts on them, what you rated them, if you liked them or if you hated them, and if you're planning on reading these books, I would like to know what you think you're going to love about them, or which ones you're planning on reading. Or if you have a list of 24 books you want to read in 2024, I would love to know your list as well. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. I will have all of my social medias linked in the description, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.